We are down to the Final Four, which means only one thing. It is Conference Championship weekend. And I don't know about you, but I think this is the perfect Final Four to have. No doubt in my mind, these are the four best teams in the league and have been throughout the majority of the season. Despite the Bengals and 49ers having a slow start to the season, they were the two hottest teams entering the playoffs, and now they're both in the Final Four. Which two teams will be punching their ticket to Super Bowl 57 this Sunday? Johnny Talk Sports here to provide you with my conference championship weekend predictions. And without further ado, let's get to the conference championship predictions. I am not wasting any more time. Let's get right into it. Kicking things off with the NFC Championship Game, the 49ers and the Eagles. This is a matchup that has been highly anticipated for weeks, and on Sunday, we're going to finally see it play out. The 49ers went all in at the trade deadline, acquiring Christian McCaffrey, and it has led to a 12-game winning streak. 7 of those 12 games have been with third-string quarterback Brock Purdy under center, but there could be a very interesting decision coming up here for the 49ers. And it is not a choice at all. It's only a choice if the 49ers are foolish enough to make a choice like this. It has been reported on the down low for weeks that Jimmy Garoppolo could be able to return for this NFC Championship game. And as much as I have said in the last year and a half that Jimmy Garoppolo manages the game really well, and the 49ers are a much better team with Jimmy Garoppolo under center, these last 7 games with Brock Purdy, that pretty much debunks the statements that I've made in the last year and a half. Because with the way Brock Purdy's been playing, the 49ers, they don't need Jimmy Garoppolo under center. And I don't want to look ahead into things, but the 49ers, they have Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Brock Purdy as part of their quarterback room going into 2023. So 2 of those guys are going to have to be traded, in my opinion. Because Brock Purdy's been playing well. He deserves the starting role next season. In fact, it was reported a couple days ago that unless something drastic happens in the offseason and in training camp next summer, Brock Purdy is going to be the starting quarterback for the 49ers for the 2023 season. And if the 49ers are foolish enough to put Jimmy Garoppolo under center and bench the hot hand in Brock Purdy, then they deserve to lose before they even start. They deserve that L. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. But I feel like both these teams in this matchup, they match up to each other quite well. These are two teams that like to run the football, and they run the football very efficiently. A lot of weapons on offense. The 49ers, you got Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, even though he has been banged up the majority of the year, he has had moments where he stepped up for this 49ers team. George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in the league. Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. For the Eagles, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. Miles Sanders, who was 5th in the league in rushing yards in the regular season. Dallas Goedert, very underrated tight end, a tight end that doesn't get the appreciation like a Travis Kelce or a George Kittle or a Mark Andrews. And these teams are 1st and 2nd in total defense. So they may have weapons on offense. They may have good running games. They may be 1st and 2nd total defense. But both these teams have one weakness. And the biggest key for me in determining which team is going to win this game is which team is going to exploit the opposition's weakness more efficiently. The 49ers, their weakness is their pass defense. Their pass defense ranked 20th this season. The Eagles' weak part of their team is the run defense. Now, part of that, you can argue that it was because Jordan Davis was injured, but 18th in run defense, which isn't bad, but it's not good either. It's middle of the pack. We've seen the 49ers secondary struggle against number 1 receivers throughout the playoffs so far. The numbers against the number 1s that they faced so far in the playoffs. DK Metcalf in the wild card round. 10 catches, 136 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The division round against the Cowboys, they gave up 10 catches, 117 yards to CeeDee Lamb. The Eagles' run defense, they have had their moments where they have shut down top-tier running backs. They've shut down Saquon Barkley twice. They shut down Derrick Henry, who is without a doubt a top 3 running back in the NFL, perhaps even arguably the best running back in the league. I am taking the Eagles in this game because I think they'll have an easier time exploiting the 49ers pass defense, I expect A.J. Brown to have himself an afternoon. The 49ers may have an elite running game, but the Eagles' run defense has been better than the Cowboys' run defense throughout the year. I like the Eagles to move on to Super Bowl 57 by a score of 28-24. Moving on to the AFC Championship Game, the Bengals and the Chiefs. And there's already question marks surrounding this game around Patrick Mahomes. He suffered a high ankle sprain in last week's game against the Jaguars, but he played through it, and it's highly anticipated he will play in this matchup. No doubt in my mind he's playing this game. With the magnitude of this game and what is on the line, if this was an ordinary regular season game, I'd say he would sit this one out. But it's the AFC Championship Game with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line. It's going to be an interesting week of coverage that will probably be 2021 all over again, when he suffered a concussion in the division round against the Browns and was cleared to play the next week, where he dominated against the Bills with 325 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Either Mahomes is going to absolutely dominate on Sunday and the Chiefs will roll the Bengals in this matchup, or the Bengals are going to win and break the Chiefs' hearts once again, which I'm going to reveal my prediction in just a moment after a quick breakdown of this matchup. Now, I do believe this is a very similar injury that he had in 2019. I think he also suffered a high ankle sprain in 2019, but then he played the next week and absolutely dominated. I believe he threw for over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now, don't quote me on it, I'm not 100% sure on that. But I want to break down the earlier matchup during the season, where the Bengals won by a score of 27-24. Jamar Chase did not play in that game, so there's already an additional element in effect this time around. In the 2 games in his career against the Chiefs, Jamar Chase has had 11 catches, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 7 catches, 97 yards in last year's AFC Championship Game. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs had a 21-3 lead in last year's AFC Championship Game, but then the Bengals came roaring back behind a big performance from Joe Burrow. And every single time that Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes have faced off, it has been a 3-point game each time. And I feel like this game is going to be no different. I feel like we're going to be in for another game that is going to be hard fought. It's going to be a down to the wire game. I think both games this week are going to be hard fought from start to finish, and they will come all the way down to the wire. Now, we have seen concerns throughout the year with the Chiefs defense. I said this last week, but I did mention that the Chiefs defense has stepped up in recent weeks. And last week was no different. Don't let the scoreboard fool you into thinking the Chiefs defense did not dominate in that matchup against the Jaguars. They did. They did what they had to do to win this game. But now they're going up against who I feel like have the best receiving core in the league in the Bengals with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. We've seen Tyler Boyd and Hayden Hurst step up throughout the year. And I am going to pick the Bengals to win this game by a score of 37-34. I had the Bengals going back to the Super Bowl, where they will be 1 win away from completing their revenge tour. Now, it's been an interesting day with the line for this game. It started out this morning with the Chiefs as a 1-point favorite. Then it was a pick 'em around lunchtime. And now, as of this moment, when I'm recording this, it's Bengals -1. Now, I usually get worried picking both favorites during Conference Championship Game weekend. But with the lines being as close as they are, I don't think it matters. Plus, I went 4 for 4 last week with my straight picks. The only thing that messed me up from having an absolutely perfect week was the Jaguars with a backdoor cover to only lose by 7 when the line was 8.5. So that was the only thing that ruined my absolutely perfect week. And there are going to be possible storylines for this year's Super Bowl that will probably be talked about this week. They may or not be talked about, but 3 potential storylines here. Either we're going to get a Super Bowl 54 rematch with the Chiefs 49ers. We're going to get Andy Reid versus former team, Chiefs Eagles. Or we're going to get the Bengals being 1 win away from fulfilling their revenge tour. Which, based off the picks I have this week, it's going to be that storyline. Whether it be against the 49ers or the Eagles, the Bengals will be 1 win away from fulfilling their revenge tour if they beat the Chiefs. And that will do it for my conference championship weekend predictions. Like, share, comment your picks down below in the comment section. And until next time, have a great day or evening whenever you happen to be watching, and enjoy conference championship weekend. And I will be back next week with my Super Bowl prediction. Take care.